sudden feel the energy will release from you. It will actually go outward. And this is like your soul's effort to connect to the divine field around you. That's what the valuable tool of non-judgment comes into play. And it really, when you can do that on a regular basis, then you can grow into the next step, which is forgiveness. And it's a twofold thing, just like in judgment. You can't judge yourself or others. You also have to learn to forgive yourself and then forgive others. And when you get into the habit of non-judging, really just perceiving versus critiquing and analyzing, and you allow the experience to create a moment of spiritual connection. Believe it or not, every single moment can be this. I mean, that's the goal. Ideally, you want to have this continuous stream of feeling like you're connected to the moment. Not that you're just reacting to it. You're connected, that your body and your mind and your soul, emotions are all one, are all in this sort of unified field. And this is what I call the divine field. Because you're making this internal connection to the external field around you. And it's unique. It doesn't feel like space-time. It feels like it's more than that. Now, I realize we will have the atheist revolting, saying, no way, that's not what happens. That's not possible, or whatever. And I'm saying, yes, it does happen, but you're not going to get any kind of scientific proof, because this is all an experiential quality. And yes, maybe someday we can actually find the right amino acids and the right neurotransmitters and the right biochemistry to describe exactly what I'm talking about. But that will only prove to me that our nature, our human nature, that our physical qualities actually has the ability to connect to the divine. Now, maybe the divine field ends up being nothing more than like the fifth dimension. A tangible quality that someday baby science can identify, which is fine with me. I don't have a problem with that. But for an atheist to decide that there is no such thing, that whatever you're feeling, that's not real. Well, it is real. And it really may not be proven, but to reject the notion that we might actually have the ability within us, we have the physical, maybe even like a set of, like we have an eye, which is an organ that allows us to see, allows us to take in visual clues, and then we interpret, analyze, do whatever we do with the visual clues, and do something about it. Or auditory clues, or clues coming from our taste, or smell, or touch. These are just ways or mechanisms designed to allow us to connect to the world around us. These are perceptual clues. I'm just skipping one step because I think when you have a combination of this sensory input from more than one sense, from all of them, you actually kind of create this holistic, larger sense that doesn't come from necessarily a specific organ. Now, in a way it does. It may come from the brain. And that brain, now, when you tell the brain, not to analyze, you actually will feel the energy release from you. And you're connecting at a deeper level than just, taking in the clues, reacting to them, and judging them, and critiquing them, and then forcing some kind of physical reaction to oppose them or to do something. When you start to becoming so mechanical about every single thought, then you're not allowing yourself freedom of just experiencing. And that experiencing is perhaps just another physical ability that a human has, but most of the time we don't use that quality. It's like a vestigial organ, like the appendix or something, that we don't really know what it's for. We have it, but maybe we have something like that. Maybe it's not a specific organ, but it's actually this combination of organs that come together, and we actually can have this external experience, which, as you grow in spirit, might actually become very intense, very strong, very personal, very loving experience. I mean, ultimately, that's what we're looking for. So this is just sort of the first level. So when we get through that, when we use that device of non-judgment and allow our perceptual input to just create this divine field around us, we can start to feel good about ourselves. We can forgive ourselves for, being the douchebags that we are. I mean, we just know, we're certainly falling short of the glory of God, but we shouldn't even be saying that, because when you use all that you have, when you create all of the insights, and you allow yourself to develop in spirit, then, you can definitely see whoa, I may not be such a douche after all. I might actually be able to be a true, loving, spiritual quality that can stand with Jesus, within the divine field, to really feel this deeper connection. So that's a major block. When you are actually, you're developing the skill to not judge the moment, but you come to the conclusion that, wow, I might actually be a worthwhile person. I may not have to feel that I'm not worthy. You may accept your part of creation in a powerful way, because you'll actually feel like you are creating, because you're able to connect and maintain this divine field around you and feel the power and the love of your divine figure. In this case, Jesus for me, but any other figure for anyone else. So the faithful do this. I mean, the atheists don't have that desire to do that. I think they have the capability of doing it. Perhaps they do, but they don't realize it, because when they enter the divine field, they don't give it any kind of quality other than, I don't know, but they don't internalize the experience and externalize the expression of that. I don't know. I mean, atheists are probably able to experience something like what a faithful person experiences in Christ or in their divine figure through art, perhaps. Let's say they're a very good painter, and they just sit in this moment, and while they're creating, the energy is emanating from them, and they're actually connecting to their moment with this intense self-expression. And they may not give it any more quality than that, but my feeling is that if someone is creating, writing a song, doing a sculpture, even if they're building a building and they're so caught up in the activity that they're able to express this sheer joy, this sheer unified sense in doing it, like they completely lose their sense of time. And I think that's an actual thing. They actually are outside of time when they're doing that. Because that set of organs that is in effect while you're expressing yourself comes into play. And this is really a real thing. I think it does have that quality. So yes, you don't judge the moment. You don't judge others. You don't judge yourself. And then you get to a point where you realize, geez, I actually am worthy. I can forgive myself. I don't have to constantly condemn myself for being a human being, because I know I've discovered all of these new qualities about me that allow me to experience the divine, and that I'm part of that divineness, just simply by allowing myself to forgive myself, to not allow myself or my perspective or my perhaps prejudicial bias about yourself get in the way of who you really are. So you can actually forgive yourself. And once you experience that, then you can say, you know what? If it is true for me, if I actually can realize a different quality within myself and realize I have all this to contribute or to create within the divine field, then that must also be true for others. And that's how you can forgive others. Now, of course, if somebody does do something horrible to you, you're hopefully going to be in that good place of strength where you can forgive your reaction to this, and because you don't want the anger, the hate, you don't want to react to the horror that you experience. You want to get through it. You want to get past it. You want to use your internal strength to create the divine field around your circumstance so that you can forgive yourself and then in turn forgive others. Because it's important that these relationship happens, because even if somebody's doing something to you and you are innocent, you still have to forgive yourself in that moment, because you need to forgive your reaction to it, whatever's happened to you. Let's say somebody kills your spouse. The enraged chance to go after them, and you're seeking justice, and all of that. The justice actually comes in a different form. And the form is that, okay, you use the power of this internal mechanism to generate and connect to the divine field to sort of wash over and keep you in a state of forgiveness, that you're reacting to this horror, and you need to keep washing this over you until you can forgive yourself for the reaction, and then the reaction eventually dissipates, and then it'll allow you to forgive them and kind of invite them to join you in this divine field of love that you're creating, of this positive quality of spirit. So that's how you forgive, and